All right, I'd like to welcome everyone and call to order the regular school committee meeting of August 12, 2026. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, the flag is over President shoulder. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. If you could just take a moment of reflection. Thank you. All right, item 2.1, consider, discuss, and vote to match the Dora Simmons scholarship amount of $150 to bring the total award to $300. This is something we've done the last few years as the amounts of the scholarships have come up. I'm looking at Mariah, but I should be looking at Mr. McNamee. Mr. McNamee, do we have the funds available to do this?
We do.
Excellent. I will consider a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. All in favor to match the Dora Simmons scholarship amount, $150 to $300?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing as there are none. Excellent. Motion carries 4-0. Item 2.2, consider, discuss, and vote to approve the scholarship, the school committee scholarships as recommended by the scholarship subcommittee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing as there are none, 4-0, that carries. And now we will welcome our special guests. I shared with Ron, Jane, and Susan, the Bogle family that is here. This is, I think, our favorite night of the year. A lot of times there's, the minutia of the day-to-day of education and how the school operates in the district, but this is really championing the outcomes that you guys have produced through your hard work and effort, not just in the last year, but certainly your entire educational career has led to this. You're all going on to university. And you're going to go do great things. It's awesome that we have a small community here that has such an unbelievable output of young people that go on to, secondary education and really make an impact, not just in this community, but around the nation and the world. So without any further ado, I would first like to thank the Bogle family who is present tonight, Ron, Jane, and Susan. All of these scholarships and the work that the community does in terms of providing scholarships to our graduating seniors, it's really a philanthropic effort. You guys have been champions of it for a very long time. I love seeing you here, and as I shared with all of you, this is, like I said, my favorite night of the year. To be clear, the subcommittee, when Michael and I met, this is a blind draw. I see some familiar faces in the crowd now. But when we're doing this, we're literally going by what you submitted. Your names have been blacked out, addresses, all that stuff. So it's literally what are your accolades, your test scores, your outcomes, your extracurricular activities, how you're involved in the community. And that's kind of how we make the decision and make the recommendation to the committee. So it's awesome to see so many familiar faces, but at the same time, this has nothing to do with who we know. This is really just a testament to the great work that you've all done as students. Our first scholarship is the Ruth Coombs Bogle Memorial Scholarship. Ruth was a first grade teacher for 25 years and a major contributor to Christian education in the United Congregational Church. And the recipient plans to pursue a degree in education or healthcare. I'm going to have one of the Bogle family come up now, and they'll present this. I'm going to read who the recipient is, but here you go, Ron. Perfect. There is no doubt that Rowan Manchester will share her compassion and knowledge with those in need of medical care. While maintaining excellent grades in honor classes throughout her high school, she volunteered at her church, participated in a wide variety of extracurricular activities, ranging from varsity cheerleading to National Honor Society, and helped out at Wilbur McMahon, where she was in the 8th grade valedictorian. By judging the science fair, Rowan plans to attend either Salve University or URI and pursue a career in healthcare. Specifically, Rowan wishes to specialize in labor and delivery and earn her master's degree to work as a nurse practitioner. Eventually, she hopes to earn her doctorate. So it is with great pleasure we present the Ruth Coombs Bogle Memorial Scholarship to Rowan Manchester. Congratulations, Ron.
Thank you.
Jane, if you'd like to, or Susan,
All right, nope, okay.
I'll read the. Our next scholarship is the Leslie Briggs Coombs Memorial Scholarship. Leslie taught at Harvard University and was the first president at Durfee Tech, now UMass Dartmouth. This recipient is an all-around good scholar and athlete. Rose Manning has excelled as a student and a three-season athlete, earning NEPSAC, New England Preparatory School Athletic Council honors for lacrosse. She also played basketball and field hockey for all 4 years at high school. Rose plans to attend Middlebury College and study economics. Her ultimate goal is to work in an environment where finance and global policy intersect. It is with great pleasure that we present the Leslie Briggs Coombs Memorial Scholarship to Ms. Rose Manning. Congratulations, Rose, and enjoy Middlebury. And defend that national championship that you guys won there. All right, our next scholarship is the Anthony Raposa Scholarship. This recipient demonstrates good character and to be recommended by the principal of their high school. Timothy Roberts has always been interested in aviation. This has led him to pursue his private pilot license at T.F. Green International Airport and seek out mentorship opportunities with JetBlue and FedEx. In addition to volunteering for his church, Timothy keeps his feet on the ground as a lifeguard. He plans to attend Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University and become a commercial pilot. I don't believe Timothy's present tonight. I think he might be via Zoom. But Timothy, congratulations, and certainly a go-getter with already pursuing his pilot's license before he's even 18 years old. That's excellent. So, and Timothy, if you are watching, we will make sure we get this check to you. Our next scholarship is the Doris E. Simmons Memorial Educational Scholarship. Doris Simmons was a lifelong resident of Little Compton, an educator and a member of the Little Compton School Committee. This recipient is deserving of the scholarship at the sole discretion of the school committee. Colby Nixon's career goal after attending University of Vermont is to become a mechanical engineer. Academically strong and active in lacrosse, basketball, and the ski and snowboard club, Colby also explored different paths of the world through service projects. His international experience took him to both Costa Rica and Vietnam, where he undoubtedly saw the global value in engineering. It is with great pleasure that we present the Doris E. Simmons Memorial Education Scholarship to Mr. Colby Nixon. You're up. Our final scholarship is the James Webster Coombs Memorial Scholarship. James was a Little Compton school superintendent. This recipient demonstrates leadership characteristics and school community support as well as scholastic achievement. Carolyn Sullivan is an excellent student whose extracurricular activities include being the executive student ambassador for 4 years, peer mentoring, leading retreats, and managing 4 theatrical productions over 2 years. This is while playing a sport each year and performing community service. We could often see her here at Wilbur McMahon School volunteering in the after-school library program. Caroline's drive and lead to teach and nurture has led her to pursue a career in nursing with the goal of becoming a labor and delivery pediatric nurse. It is with great pleasure that we present the James Webster Coombs Memorial Scholarship to Ms. Caroline Sullivan. Congratulations. and to all of you, many of you, your parents are here. You guys are a reflection of them, whether you like it or not. That's just how it goes. You have your word and your name, and those will follow you for your entire lives. So congratulations. I remember many of you, I think it was maybe our first graduation. I remember Rowan being the valedictorian, so boy, time is flying by. That said, certainly enjoy the college experience, stick to your studies, you will make lifelong friendships, and we're really excited to see what you can contribute to not only the community, but where you go and impacts you make around the world. So thank you all for being here tonight. I didn't see any political science majors, but if those of you really got the itch to stick around for the remainder of the meeting, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you are all dismissed, and thank you for joining us tonight, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Boy, nothing clears the name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
What row are you? You gotta be close to the driver. Encourage the driver. We're driving.
Awesome. All right. That being said, we will move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 3, 1, 2, 3, 7?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Is there any public input or topics for future agendas? All right. Then without further ado, I saw him hunkered down, ready for anything in the middle of the summer as I walked in the door. Principal McKinnon, I'm going to turn it over to you with the student spotlight and
Sounds
the
good.
beginning of school 26-27 preparations.
Yeah, very little to do with students, although we do talk a little bit at the end. Real quick, I just want to recognize our custodial staff, with our head custodian Chris Osborne, Paul Borges, Jeff, and some of our summer workers, Laurel, Karen, Nolan, and Joe. Go back, Tom.
I'm trying.
That's fine.
It's skipping.
Just for, in the process of getting the school ready, we start, basically the kids are here 2 weeks from tomorrow. I know in past years, it always comes down to one of the last days, but I think we're much further along than we have been in the past. We still have a lot of things that we need to move out, and we'll find places for those over the next couple of weeks. But here's a picture of some of the work in some of the classrooms that, to be honest with you, down below, the elementary rooms, they're pretty much ready to go, as we speak. So we're in good shape that way. And the same is true up here with the other classrooms. Again, it's just moving some of those items that have been around for a long time and finding a proper place for them. That's what we'll be working on the next couple of weeks. Next slide. Ms. Susan Chase was here at our last wellness meeting. We put together a survey regarding computers, and we put it out to students, to parents, and to teachers. And one of the things that we did come up with across the board is the fact that computers are very seldom used for homework. I think we do have some, and I do believe, even though it was a survey, I do believe it was probably our older group, our 7th, 8th grade group. One of the things we are going to do is keep the computers here in school at the end of the day. They're not going to go home. Tom and Josh, over the past 2 months, have put together some, I call them cows, computers on wheels, but Chrome carts. And our students will keep them in the Chrome carts in the school. It's not to say that they can't do homework on the computer, but I think for the most part, you're looking at 6th, 7th, 8th grade that might have it. once or twice a week. They'll take their computers home, but for the most part, the computers will stay in school. We'll talk to our teachers about, particularly on weekends, if there's nothing that needs to be done, that the computer should be staying in school. And I think that will be, as we know, there's a lot of information that's out there right now regarding limiting access to social media, to computers, and to cell phones. Our kids have done a great job with the cell phones, but we're working on this. Again, we'll find a way to make it work. So that's one of the things we're hoping to do this coming year. It's not to say they won't go home. I think what you'll find in grades kindergarten through grade 5, they won't be taking them home. 6, 7, 8 will be taking them home, when needed for homework.
Wow, I gotta say,
Yeah,
way to be really responsive.
yeah. That was, it is, it's an eye-opener,
And
Susan,
we
that's
use
what-
data for
And
those
exactly.
decisions.
Yeah, exactly. As Rosemarie talked about, the data that's coming from our teachers, very few of them are giving homework to our students on computers. And again, the ones who are, I know it's in the upper levels.
Yeah.
And I think the parents are seeing the same thing.
I'm sure you talked about it, but there's a plan for like the bad weather, because
Oh,
this year
absolutely.
it did sort of
Yes.
save us a few days, and it was really nice
Sure.
to be able to have that option. Yeah.
And
Just-
again,
yeah.
if and when that happens, we'll make sure that the kids are ready. We have their little backpacks and
Yeah.
suitcases that they can carry, and they'll be ready to go.
Great.
So that's the other thing.
How-
And-
Becky,
Go ahead,
how many-
Mike. Yep.
How many survey results did you get? How many people actually
So
responded?
from a teacher standpoint, we got 27 people that sent stuff back to us. For parents, it was 41 that sent things back to us. And it's probably true to say that, there might be some parents who have kids at different levels. And really, their experience might be different at every level. The parent information that came back to us, we got to be careful, because I do think, based on, because it does ask about their grades, most of our students were in the upper grades that replied. I want to say close to 50% of the 41 people who replied were in the upper grades, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And that's where I think you're seeing the homework, a larger number. But I do think when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be beneficial to all parties that the computers stay in school. We know 7th, 8th grade, and at the next level, at the high school level, they're going to need computers, but if we can limit the use right now, I think it'll be a benefit to all.
Was there another takeaway from other than the computers stay in school versus any other concerns that came back?
Not really. No, nothing in particular that really stuck out, Mike, regarding that. The survey itself was a very simple one. It could be done in maybe 2 minutes. There were probably 6 or 7 questions. What grade are they in? Do you think that, one thing, now that you mentioned it, Mike, one thing that parents did write back is that computer use is a little overwhelming. So that is something that did come back.
Yeah, I actually did take the survey, and I just found it was a little too much time on the computers,
Yep.
from my standpoint. So a little less screen time.
Bingo.
That was one of my concerns, so I was curious to what your feedback was.
Yeah,
so.
the other thing, and again, it's hard to quantify, but one of the things each teacher was asked was, how much time did they spend on the computer in your classroom? And resoundingly, it was under 30 minutes. But you take 30 minutes times 4 classrooms, that's almost 2 hours of computer time during the school day. But again, it doesn't get down to exact times, but again, it's not to say they can't be used, they will be used, but keeping them here in school is, that temptation is not going to be there for students to be on the computer at home.
And I'm not familiar with your college carts that you speak of, but I take it that's a charging station?
They are.
They're charging
Okay.
stations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a nice thing too, the kids will come in and the computers will be
Totally
charged when they
charged.
need them, they'll be
Okay.
ready to go. So Josh and Tom, thank you for doing this pretty much for a majority of the summer, but it's a matter of changing some of the cords so that they work with our computers.
Anything compatible?
Yeah.
Might help with the break and fix too, not transporting the computers back and forth each night.
Yeah. If I may, great stuff, what we're talking about, and I just want to commend Sue. You were on this pretty early. You had asked me what you thought, or what I thought, and I said, hey, if you're, I'm hearing, you're hearing, let's see what we can do. And I remember when this was going to come to fruition, and you were going to put out the survey, and then to see the response. I think this is what we do, right? We want to be responsive to the stakeholders, in this case, the parents, of the concerns that are out there, and kudos to Principal McKinnon, the administration and teachers to be able to say, yeah, we can absolutely do this. And I think this is a real, we've done a lot on this committee. This is a real victory, I think, in terms of moving the needle without it being, we're not really upsetting the apple cart, but this is an impactful choice that we'll be able to lean into.
We
So,
can still use the computers,
Yeah.
but it's just gonna be limited.
which is great.
We
Good,
don't need
good.
to take them
Really
home. They
appreciate
can
it.
stay here.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a wave of this across the state too. I got some information from one of the news media, and they're asking all the superintendents in the state a number of questions. Obviously, they're going to do a back-to-school article, and the majority of the questions about technology and computer use. So I'll share that in our update with you.
Great.
And last slide, Tom. This is Darlene's slide. We start on the 27th, and the bus will be pulling in at probably 8 o'clock, beginning of 8 o'clock.
I can't believe what you said. Both me and Michael gasped when you said it's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah, it's coming.
Boy, blink, it's over. It's great, crazy.
Okay, that is everything that's going on in the school right now.
Thank you, Principal McKinnon. And thank you, Susan, for driving that bus. Not that bus, but the computer bus. And thank you to all the parents and teachers that responded to the survey. It helps when we have the data to make these types of decisions, so really great. That being said, we will pivot right over to the superintendent report.
Sure. This is just a quick update. Last month, or a few weeks ago, we had a workshop, Diligent Community, on the Diligent Community platform, which really houses our policy and our agendas. I was a little underwhelmed about the training, but I think if you get on and maneuver through it, it's pretty intuitive. And I offered, and if anyone needs some extra tutoring on this, please work with Mariah and set up an appointment, and we'll sit down with you and go through things. But again, it is pretty intuitive doing this. We had a discussion about that public section that you could log in as the public, and we talked a little bit about that in the training. And when we went back and looked at our policy, and I think, Mike, you brought it up, you don't have the address and the person's name and so forth.
Right.
So I was talking to the school attorney, and Sean, I'll throw that piece to you.
Yeah, so it's, in our policy, we require, the school committee requires that information would be shared in order to then participate in the public comment portion of the agenda and meeting. And because that seems to be a little bit more difficult to do through this system and not as easy as filling out a sheet at the beginning of the meeting or when you're called upon to hear, my recommendation is, unless the school committee wants to change its policy and not require that information, that you just keep public comment the way you have been and don't utilize the public comment portion through Diligent. Diligent provides a lot of services. That is an additional one. It's not something that is certainly legally required for you to provide. Is it a nice service? Sure, but there are multiple ways that the school committee already offers folks to interact, including being here physically, as well as to watch through the streaming service. In addition to that, there was one question that was raised about the note-taking, which I said I would get back to everyone on. The question was, the platform allows for the school committee members, when they're on Diligent, perhaps during a meeting, it allows them to take notes. So you all could jot down a little note to yourself somewhere in that system while following along on the agenda. And one question was, now that that's stored on a school department device, are those notes subject to the Access to Public Records Act? And while I'll never give a guarantee on anything, my read of the public access laws relative to personal notes is that it is exempt from public record. So always caution, when you're putting something in writing, particularly on technology in this day and age, assume that it will be out there at some point. But you know, in my read of it, and I think the committee could raise a defense that, note, this is an exempt document, not subject to public records. Now, in terms of the sharing of the notes, so there was this question that's kind of back and forth, and it was a bit ambiguous as to whether or not, if Sue here, as an example, were to take a note, would it be shared with the rest of the committee? We have been told through the customer service rep that that is not possible. I would also say exercise caution. If you've been using a notebook or another personal device to take notes, again, similar to the public comment piece, my advice would be, why change? It's a nice feature, but not one you're required to use. If you're dying to use it, you can go ahead and do so. You just want to be careful. Our understanding, again, we've been told, it cannot be shared. If it were to be shared, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that could be considered an OMA violation, so we just want to be very careful about that.
Thank you for that follow-up.
So,
Yeah.
Travis,
Go ahead, Michael.
so Sean, this brings up another question, because like right now, you mentioned that people can be in person or they can watch online. But from what I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I thought that people could actually submit questions via email.
They can.
Yes, my understanding is that is a practice that.
So when they do that, there's nothing prompting people to give them their address, correct?
Right, and that is really no different than if someone, a person were to communicate to a school committee member and say, I have a question about something. We wouldn't necessarily, just to answer that question, a single school committee member wouldn't say, you need to tell me your street address. You'd just have a conversation with that person through email.
Correct.
Or you meet them in a coffee shop or something. It's more about compliance with your policies relative to how the meeting itself is conducted.
So, and I don't know this answer, but do we ever get questions sent through the email for the meeting?
I recall at least maybe one time there was.
Correct. I can recall 2 times. One was when we were discussing the scholarship, or excuse me, when we were discussing the tuition. And the other time was we were discussing the homeschool. And both of those did include addresses in the posting. And if anybody, so similar to whether it's here or the town council or wherever, somebody can say, I want this read into the minutes, right? I mean, and we could say we received something and put it in the consent agenda.
They can ask for that, but it's all.
It's at the discretion, yeah.
It's at the discretion of the school committee and in accordance with the school committee policies.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far afield on that since this is a diligent community platform update.
Okay.
But yeah, we want to make sure we're complying with our policies. It's not never 100% compliance. Everyone tries their best. And if something needs to change, the school committee just needs to consider that in a future meeting.
I know I had asked about adding the address to that form, and the answer to that was no,
You can't.
right?
You can't. We asked Diligent that.
And I'd imagine it's probably a data thing, that they just don't want to get muddied in. I mean, I don't know, but the platform does a lot.
Yes.
So for them to say, you know what, we can't do that, I'm wondering if they're legal, like, we don't want to be collecting people's
Mhm.
data beyond what we already have.
My understanding is that it was a template and it's just used for
Just-
every district
Oh,
will use the
even
system.
easier.
And it's not customizable just for us, unfortunately.
Okay.
But circling back again to the training, if you know, need any tutoring or whatever, we'll gladly do that. It's just a matter of getting in and playing with it and, you know, clicking on to the little link where we upload the backups and all. And again, it's a very intuitive program.
Thank you,
Yep.
thank you, Rosemary. There he is, look at him. Look at him. Look at this. Come on up, three-hitter, these two are on base. This was a good one tonight. I mean, Principal McKinnon might even be on third already. So you just gotta drive them both home. Let's go. Finance report, Mr. John McNamee.
So we've got the preliminary results for the FY '26, and we're looking at right now, about $169,000 deficit. We still have some items coming in. In fact, today we got a couple of FY '26 expenses for student services. So we'll have some things that'll trickle in, but we've got most of the expenditures in there at this point in time. Like all the payroll is in 26 pay periods, including the accrued payroll at the end of the year. So that's all in. All the revenue that we're collecting has been collected at this point in time. Just to go over briefly some of the changes before I go into how we're going to deal with the deficit is that on the revenue side, we did have, for example, $100,000 that came in from EBEC as a distribution, so that was added to revenue. Medicaid reimbursement was, we budgeted $21,000, that came in at almost $48,500. And that's a result, and you'll see that we'll have some increases in expenses for student services. And so we're offsetting that, but you're not offsetting that dollar for dollar. So we have increases in student services, but we are doing a good job in capturing the reimbursements that we do need. I mean, traditionally we were at, $9,000, $10,000, $11,000. Now we're up to $48,500, and that is unfortunately a result of providing more services to students as well too. So. And then, the town appropriation obviously didn't change, and the state aid to education was in line with what we had budgeted. On the expense side, we did have some changes in expenditures. Salaries were up significantly. Some of it had to do with the administration transition, but even like with the retirees. So we had 3 retirees that we're going to see the benefit of those in '27 by having a little bit of breakage, hiring lower step teachers to replace higher step, but we're accruing those payouts for the sick time that was on there, and that was roughly about $35,000 in there too. And we had some additional needs in terms of speech and language that we initially had a 0.8, we went to a 1.0 for full-time equivalent. We needed a vision specialist to come in. That was about $10,600. And then we had some additional stipends that were encompassed in the budget for the summer programs and also for field trips, as well as some interim coverage for obviously the tragic loss of the school committee clerk. Benefits were pretty consistent. You'd see a little bit of an increase, which is a function of an increase in salaries on the benefits. Nothing significant there. On the student services, which are those 53,000 group of accounts, those we saw about an $87,000 increase in those expenditures over budget. So that's where some of those costs lie that we are now getting some Medicaid reimbursement for too, but obviously, like I said, not dollar for dollar. I think there was some little increase in legal fees because I think we're getting an APRA request every other week. But, so we had some increases in usage of legal in that area as well too. The purchased other services, we had a surplus of 63,000. Again, we had fewer students at Portsmouth High School, so we saw a little bit of a reduction there in our out-of-district tuition for students was down another $36,000, so we did see some savings in that area. So if we look at 26, we're looking at, if you look at page 3, on my projection, we're showing $169,112 of expense. And we have accumulated surplus that we started the year with, which was $106,88. So we're looking at about $68,005 of an accumulated deficit. So what will happen is, probably within the next couple of meetings, I'll come back and request a transfer from the capital reserve fund to the general fund to make that a positive, only from the standpoint that what the Auditor General looks at is that if you have a deficit in that general fund, you need to have a deficit reduction plan. In our case, we've done a good job of transferring money over into the capital to fund our capital. So we have ability to take that money back and basically and make the general fund whole and not significantly impacting any of the projects that we've got planned on the capital side. The other thing, and I know we meet every Wednesday, and the FY27 budget is the topic. And there's going to be some savings that are on the table right now with repositioning personnel, using some grant funding now to cover some of the summer programs. We're going to be using Title I funds to do that. Those applications have already been submitted to RIDE. So we're going to be looking at, if you recall last year, we were looking at using about $115,000 of the capital reserve. We're hoping that we won't have any need to dip into the capital for the FY27. So we're really kind of looking at all the items at this point in time on the budget side, so that we can kind of keep that within a balanced budget for the year. A little early to project that, but I think that we're making some good strides in terms of what we're planning on now in terms of personnel. So, and if you look at the capital reserve fund and
Page 10.
on page 10, we're starting the year with $537,000 of almost $538,000 of accumulated surplus. We're looking at the HVAC project. Initially it was going to be at $450. We're thinking that probably will be a number where we actually have a meeting tomorrow to talk with the architects and the contractor on the scheduling of the project, and that we're anticipating will get done over the next couple of months. So we'll have a little better handle on some of those costs, but clearly we won't be exceeding that 450. And we have 132.5, if you look at the FY27 projection, coming in from housing aid that we spent in this past year, and I'll apply for that. So at the end of the day, we'd have a projected $220,434 in accumulated surplus. So if we take 100 out to fund 26, we're still going to be in there at least $120,000 in that accumulated surplus on the capital side.
Wow.
And that's what, when we're talking to like the rating agencies, one of the things that I did bring up was not only on the school side, but also the town side. The town has a capital reserve fund sitting in there too. So you have to take that in consideration when you're looking at your accumulated surplus number,
Yeah.
which is the key. So it's probably not the year we hoped for, but I think we did a good job in trying to minimize the impact, and I think the fact that we're looking at prospectively in 27, trying to minimize any of the impact that we initially thought would be negative on the budget. Now again, I'm going to take a line from Attorney Clough. I make no guarantees.
No.
So, but I think that, you know, things pop up during the year that just are unavoidable, but we're going to keep our eye out for those, and certainly we'll make the committee aware of any of those changes as they come along.
Well, not desirable. I mean, at least we have a capital expenditure. I think of all the departments, not just in this community, but around the state, that don't have a capital expenditure fund, and they wouldn't be able to do what
Well, we
just
were
kind of
fortunate
walk us
because
through.
it was a combination of surplus, but also with the liquidation of the collaboratives that allowed us to put some of that money aside for capital as well too. And one of the other things on 26, and I'll take the hit on that, was the budget that I put in for electric was not nearly enough to what we needed. For example, I think I got the July amount for Rhode Island Energy today, and there was no payment due. And I believe there's about $5,000 or $6,000 as a credit sitting in that account, because now we're into the period where the solar is starting to generate a lot more electricity, but also our virtual net metering credits are also going to start to increase as well too. So this year we'll have a better feel, because now we've got a matching of the, you know, Rhode Island Energy has caught up finally with their billing, so that we can kind of look at this throughout the year, measure that. So I think we were looking at potentially about $50,000 in electric cost. I think without the virtual net metering and the solar, we were initially starting, we were up in the 85,000, 90,000 a year. And that was, and I think we're using, obviously, I think more electricity because we have more demands on that than we had in the past, so.
Yeah, in 24, we used 115,000.
In 24?
That's what it's saying. I mean, if I'm,
Yeah.
I'm using the electricity line item. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
significant.
it's even higher than that. Some of that, there was some lights that we were paying for again too, that are out now too, so. So I think that, you know, we'd be looking at, you know, $50,000, $60,000 annual savings that, you know, obviously it didn't cost us anything for it, so the payback, if we had to pay for it, which was 5 and change, would have been closer to a 10-year payback probably for the solar.
So,
Go ahead, Mike.
my question would be is that approximately, it's gone on almost 5 years, maybe it's 4 years, that we switched all the lights out in the school, and I believe that we were going to pay that back over 5 years when we updated all the fixtures so that,
Right.
so where do we stand with that now?
That's paid off.
So that's all paid off now. What was the, do you remember what that was originally? Were we supposed to do it over a 5-year period or?
A 5-year period, yeah. And that was funded through Rhode Island Energy with no interest.
We were at 0%, I remember that.
You know, the theory was that the savings that you would have on the LED lights would offset the cost. Tough to measure. negative, but
Right.
that was the theory.
And as far as the AC, when we came to you to talk about finance, I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't heard anything about the AC project, and I thought that was gonna happen over the summer, so where do we really stand with that?
It's going to get scheduled, in fact, the meeting is tomorrow. 1 o'clock, we're meeting with the architects, the contractor, Jack and Rosemary will be there, Chris will be there, so we're going to pursue that, so we'll get a better timeline as to when it's going to get done, but it's not going to be as lengthy as you would if you're replacing ductwork and that kind of thing, so. In some of it, we've got some times that the school's available because of training, so that the students aren't here, so the contractors can come in and get it done. So we're going to kind of hash that all up tomorrow and get a timeline to move forward with it.
Do we think our budgeted number is still good from when we originally got that number?
The 450?
Yeah.
Yeah, according to the architect, he had called them and he felt as though that the contractor could hold the price. We'll find out definitely tomorrow as to whether he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, because that was a while ago.
Yeah, you said that was
Yeah,
a.
I mean,
We were in the other room.
Laurie kind of ran that project, so it was a little bit of a slip there, so, but we're back on track and we'll get it done certainly, probably within the next 2 to 3 months. But,
I mean, they'll be putting in splits, so my understanding is that could be done quickly.
Initially when we looked at it, was number one, right, not disrupting the school schedule, and then number two is the heating portion of the mini splits and how that could potentially benefit us, knowing that it wasn't a full replacement of the heating system. But so I was just wondering where that everything stood with. Okay.
Thank you, John. And if there's any information that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll put it in the
You could-
update. We'll
you
put
will-
it
You're
in
always good
Friday's
about it, I
update.
don't even need to
If we
say.
learn anything more tomorrow.
Excellent. Moving on to committee reports. 8-1 Policy Subcommittee report. We have not met since our last meeting. I don't anticipate meeting unless something comes up, but we're certainly not going to amend that policy that we discussed earlier regarding the public comment. I will do item 8-2, Portsmouth School Committee Liaison Report. Mr. Mark Leisure.
There's really nothing to report from those last 2 meetings. Sort of like what's going on here, not a lot of student information, just a lot of sort of hiring, resignations, and things like that. So I didn't really find anything to report tonight.
I got one question on that one. Who's the new principal for the high school?
Mr. Monahan, Mike Monahan. Mike was in Tiverton. Help me out. And he was in Rogers.
It was at Rogers, he was at Portsmouth 7, 8 years ago as the head of guidance, went to Newport as Rosemary talked about, now he's back as the principal at Portsmouth High School.
And he started July 1, my understanding.
They also hired a deputy superintendent.
Yes, Dr. Heath, who was the principal
Yeah,
of high
Jack's
school,
called it, right?
is now the deputy assistant, deputy superintendent.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Sure.
Thank you. That's great. Item 8-3, Wellness Committee Liaison Report. Mrs. Susan Chase.
I don't have anything to report. We have a meeting tentatively scheduled for late September, I believe, so I'll have more then.
Okay. Item 8-4, Town Recreation Committee Liaison Report. Mr. Mark.
Yeah, again, nothing relevant to Lower McMahon School happening over there over the last couple of months with the Recreation Committee.
Item 8-5, we just presented our scholarships, and we will look to get that information out to the high schools a little earlier this year. I'm not concerned with it. I know that Mariah, Carolyn do an excellent job.
We'll do a press release probably for these current scholarships.
Awesome, thank you. All right, on to action items. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve the Wilbur McMahon School Student Handbook. Does Principal McKinnon, do you want to discuss?
Wanna handle that?
Yeah, I was going to
Sure.
say, do you want to talk on anything that's been added? I know the cell phone piece has been added,
Yep.
or the electronic device piece.
Correct. If you look at the handbook, basically, I highlighted anything that's in red is something new. As you'll see, we have some new additions to our building and some movement in our building. Page 12 does talk about the cell phone policy. We also have parent-teacher conferences on page 23 that are scheduled for December. After they receive their report cards. I think this is the second year we've done that. I'll just check the dates on that. And, let's see. Yeah, December 10th and December 15th from 4 to 7. And the last thing were student pictures are going to be taking place in October and again in December for makeups. We have not changed the cost of cafeteria food, lunches. That'll be talked about, I believe, here today, so we'll make that change in the student handbook when that takes place.
I have one question.
Go ahead, Sue. I was just about to say, does anyone have any questions?
Oh,
Go ahead, please.
well, as I was
Minor.
reading through, so this was not a change, and it's not even really a policy, but I noticed under backpacks, it was discouraging tags on backpacks. And it's just, I wondered if, because I know they are so big, I've seen, like at summer camp, all the kids have their new backpacks, and they have 1,000,000 tag-along things on them. So is it a problem? It said something, I don't have it in front of me here, but it said something about it being a problem in the lockers.
I would, well, possibly putting the backpacks in the locker, it could cause, I guess, a problem. Haven't heard much about it. Usually that's handled at the teacher level,
Yeah.
but certainly if there was an issue, it would be brought to our attention.
So you're not going to actively discourage that?
No, if there's an issue,
They have
again,
new ones. It could be a revolt.
yeah,
Not wrong.
I'm sorry, not to tag me in what, please?
Well, they clip on cute little things,
put a
or,
little-
you know,
What are they called?
Boo-boos and
Boo-boo.
little squishies.
little
and
squishies.
little
there's
Hello
all kinds of little
Kitties.
things that they
All right,
tag onto them, so.
I figured you meant like a manufacturer's tag. What's the big deal about a
No,
tag?
No, these are add-ons.
It would,
These are add-ons.
to
Okay.
Principal McKinnon and Sue's point, like, if you had an abundant amount, it might become a locker issue, but in most cases, I don't think it would be.
Okay.
Well, I think my granddaughter already has an abundant amount.
And Grandma bought them, right?
All right, any other questions? That said, I will consider a motion to approve the 26-27 Wilbur McMahon Student Handbook.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing as there are none, that's a 4-0 vote. Next item, 9.2, consider, discuss, and vote to approve the 26-27 Little Compton School Department School Employee Handbook. And I believe, I spoke with Rosemary, no changes to this.
No changes, and I do apologize that this went out last night, I believe, but it sat in my inbox for a while and it was, oops, okay, let's get this out.
Thank you for being forthcoming with that. Do I have any questions? I will consider a motion
So moved.
to approve the 26-27 Little Compton School Department Wilbur McMahon Student Employee Handbook.
Still moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Motion carries 4-0. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve the MOU between the Town of Little Compton and the Little Compton School District to use Wilbur McMahon as an officially designated and equipped emergency shelter. I believe that this is continued.
We're memorializing the
Correct,
practice.
exactly.
I talked to the chief about this, and he said, you know, we don't have any, maybe we did in the past. I said, let's put it in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It always has been, it will continue to be an emergency shelter. Do I have a motion to approve the MOU between the town of Little Compton and the Little Compton School District for Wilbur McMahon to be officially designated and equipped emergency shelter?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, 4-0.
Could I
Go ahead.
did have one question about that. So it has been used, I was wondering about, it mentioned the emergency equipment that would be needed that, to be stored, so I wondered if we had if it's already there and there's a place for it, or if we needed additional
Well,
space.
that would be the generators
Yeah.
to keep the air conditioning or the heat going. Also, as we found out this winter, we got to make sure that it gets plowed and so that people can access it too. So that would be given a priority in terms of plowing at the schools. So.
Correct, much like a snow route, this being an emergency
Exactly.
shelter would hold precedent.
Exactly. Yeah.
So those generators are already here and,
We do have the generators. I think we're going to continue to look at those to see if we need to upgrade those. But I know the fire chief has looked at all those elements.
Good question, sir.
Travis, one thing. Yeah, just on a typographical,
Excuse me.
page 4 of 3. If I could just, I know this should be 4 of 4, but just so when we send it back.
Oh, for item 9-3?
No, yeah, 9.3, it just says page 4 of 3. It says act as school superintendent. So
Just, it's a
just a
typo.
It's a
Okay,
typo thing.
Yeah.
we'll check that.
All right. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve the food service contract with, am I on the right one? Yes, with Chartwells for fiscal year '27 and authorize business manager to sign on behalf of the school committee. Mr. McNamee, you presented this
Yeah, so
excellent.
my request is that you allow me to sign it because they go it through DocuSign, so it's like a pain to get somebody else to get in it and stuff, so. But that contract is, so we're on the state contract with Chartwells. It's a one-year contract. The state has negotiated that contract with Chartwells. They hired an outside firm to review all the contracts for each district, which includes the budgets and et cetera in there. So those have all been vetted out and it's ready to be signed. But again, it's a one-year contract. As you know, the state did go out this past year, and it was questionable whether they would be able to get something soon, so that if we needed to put a bid out on our own, we'd be in a position to do it. But they were able to get bids in, and Chartwells was not the only bidder, but they were the one that won the bid at this point in time.
And we're looking at the accurate pricing, $2.85 for lunch and $1.25 for breakfast.
That's different. That's not the contract, that's the meal price. We're gonna vote on that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. But this is just.
So this is to let you sign? Well,
And to approve.
as if we must.
So you're just asking
To be,
to sign the contract for 1 year? Is that what you're
Yeah, it's
asking?
a one-year contract, yeah.
So just like, so in the past, we've done the Chartwells directly with us, or we've always gone
No,
to the
we're always
state?
with the state. We always are on the statewide. Once Chartwells was on the state bid.
Okay,
Before, we used to go like East Bay Collaborative, so we would go in with, I think Middletown was in there, Portsmouth, Barrington, Tiverton, and Little Compton. We would then negotiate as a group
Right.
But again, it's like the busing, we negotiate as a group, but we all have separate pricing because each district is going to be different in terms of the cost and the types of meals and et cetera. So in our case, it's just that, we don't have the critical mass to make a lot of money with the food service, which some districts have the ability to do that. I mean, when I was in Lincoln, we had Chartwell's too, and, we got our own chef there, but, so you had some bennies that you could do because they're a bigger district.
Is the 1 year renewable at the same rate, or is you have to go through the whole contract process again with the
Just go
state?
through this whole process every year. The right does the review of the contract again. They'll do that for the 5-year period unless they decide that they're not going to renew the contract, which I don't think that would happen. But
Seems like a lot of paperwork for 1 year.
Sure.
it's a lot of paperwork if you go out on your own as well, too. If you
Oh,
don't use the
yeah, I
statewide
know,
contract.
but
But it's like busing, too. Busing's the same way. I mean, but busing is a 5-year contract with 3 3-year option with 2
Two
1-year
renewals.
renewals.
Yeah.
So we could get out to the 5 years and get better pricing. But what they do with Chartwell's is every year they're bidding on that, and the state then looks at the cost as well, too.
So basically, at the end of the day, the state's taking care of all the bidding, but we're on.
Yeah, their purchasing
It's a
has
much
gone
more
through,
entity.
they've done all the vetting, and they basically put the contract together.
I'm gonna probably mess this up, but how does that, we farm to table, or how does that play into with our,
Well, any of those programs are over and above what we have. So, for example, they have a fresh fruits and vegetable program. They'll reimburse the district on a grant and provide fresh fruit and vegetables to the school. So, for example, in Lincoln, this year I think is a year we can actually apply for the little Compton. We haven't been able to do that in the past. But that would allow us to provide that 3 or 4 days a week. In my case, there was like 4 or 5 schools that we would provide it to. And we get the bills in and submit those for reimbursement to RIDE. So on any of those grants, which are, again, reimbursable grants, we'll then submit those expenses to RIDE for reimbursement.
So that's how we get that farm to table, because it's a grant. We bring in that product, and then we're reimbursed for using that product.
Yeah, so we're not out of
It's an offset, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't look like it's checked off here, does that matter? On the contract that, I think here at the top, it looks like there's a section where the FVP, fresh fruits and vegetables, maybe we just need to choose it, I'm just not sure, I could be reading it wrong.
Or maybe it's separate because it's it's grant rather than the contract with Chartwell's.
Yeah, not every school would
We'll do
wind
the
up
fresh veggies.
getting that, so.
On page,
This is the boilerplate.
But that's a separate application.
Oh, okay.
Right.
just on page 5, it has a checkbox for that, and I just need to see. Right there.
And I know that the grant was submitted for the farm to table.
For our district.
For our district, I think by July 1st it was submitted, but you probably haven't heard.
Charles submits everything for us.
Oh, they do.
So we should have that checked off. That,
No, that'll be separate.
Okay, sorry.
No, don't worry.
no,
This is what I'm talking about. So if there are no further questions, this is basically giving
I'm just looking at variety.
Mr. McNamee the power to sign off on this. So I will consider a motion to approve the food service contract with Chartwell's for fiscal year '27 and authorize business manager John McNamee to sign on behalf of the committee. Do I have a motion?
So
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing as there are none, motion carries 4-0. Now, this is the rate piece. Consider, discuss, and vote to increase school lunch and breakfast rates. Mr. McAmey presented us with a piece of paper here.
Yeah, this was a recommendation by Chotwell's we haven't increased it in, I can't recall,
10 years.
probably 10 years maybe. And we have, and you can see, I also included the reimbursement rates that we're getting from the feds, which, for example, for the lunch program, we're at free lunch is like $4.76 in terms of the reimbursement that we're getting from the feds. So this isn't going to apply to those that are getting free and reduced lunch. Obviously, they're paying those, one's not paying at all, one's paying reduced rate. But it would be for anybody that's not free and reduced at this point. We're also at a point where which I hope we could break even, but we're not in a position where we can break even because we just don't have the volume that would allow us to do that at this point in time. So I just thought that, and Charles agreed that it might be time just to kind of bump up the rates a little bit at this point.
So we're not, the lunches that we provide, we're doing it at a loss? Is that, do I understand?
Well, at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because, I know you can't buy these lunches at these prices on the street, so I'm just, but to what of a loss are we? Because, 15 cents is not a lot.
This year, they were projecting, in '27, they were projecting probably somewhere around, I think it was 12,000
For our district.
for our district.
And that's over how many lunches?
Well,
By lunches and breakfasts, I guess, right?
yeah, I can get you those numbers, I don't have those in fingertips, but when I submit the reimbursements, I can go in and I can find how many meals that we're serving. The problem, I think, is we also, at one point in time, were able to kind of do it with one person, but we really need two now because we can't really rely on any help from a TA in the program. So we probably have a little bit higher labor cost based on the volume that we're doing. So that's really one of the issues. They can control the food cost as best they can. And labor costs have been increasing, obviously. So, but when we're getting the reimbursements, we're seeing obviously a much higher number than what we're charging for the meals. And I think with most districts, the key was it wasn't ever looked at as a moneymaker, but when you had universal free lunch in 21 and 22, all these districts were making lots of money because it was like some districts now that are 100% free, like Providence, I think Cranston probably is with Socket, Newport. It's not an issue, they don't have to really kind of attract a sale. In our case, it's a little bit different because we only get, we got one small group of middle school students as opposed to a middle school, which then you can sell a la carte. And you can sell different products and stuff like that, and then the high school as well too. So.
Yeah, I would say that I would not be interested or in trying to make money on families on a lunch, but I'd like to be covering our costs somewhere, or somewhat close.
Well, this would be a step towards that. I don't think you want to go up dramatically, but I think this would be a good step to move forward on it.
I mean, the proposal is from 285 to 3. And we're getting reimbursed at 476 for, I would imagine that would be for the free lunches and what have you, correct?
That's from the feds, right?
Yeah. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but to me, $3 is not enough. If we haven't gone up in our lunches in 10 years and we're taking, it's gonna cost us 12,000, but
Yeah, but you notice a lot of the districts are not, there's not anybody that's up into that category,
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
yeah, I mean, everything, I can't, I mean, it was $1.90 when I was in school, $1.90.
I mean, you could cut back, you could try to cut back on labor, but then we'd have to provide something. And that's the issue, is that, again, you don't have that critical mass.
Yeah, this is definitely
Allows
something
you
to do, like, to try to figure, I mean, because we're a small district,
We do
we got
have,
the reimbursement.
we do have more and more now, the free lunches are really direct certs from the state, so we are seeing some increases in that number,
Yeah, I was surprised at the percentage.
which helps the program.
Yeah.
Right.
the percentage of the increase
Free.
in, yeah.
Free and reduced.
And is that free and reduced, is that based on like a parental income or whatever?
There's a full,
Well, the direct certs are done through the state, so those families that qualify for SNAP benefits would automatically qualify.
Understood, understood.
Or
That's-
Medicaid, or families that qualify for Medicaid.
Yeah, I imagine there's.
Yeah, that was an ad they did a couple of years ago, I think.
I have a question. I know I've read of other communities and places where a very wonderful philanthropic donor would pay for school lunches so that, you know, I know our school does a great job of keeping it confidential and not hard for those kids who do get free lunch. But is there anything that would prevent us from accepting a grant like that from someone who wanted to provide free
No.
lunch for everyone?
No,
And that would be around $12,000, is that correct?
for,
For if everyone were to get
oh,
free lunch?
It'd be higher than that.
It'd be higher.
Yeah.
Still though, it's good,
But
these are good conversations to have. We're a small district. We could have, we gotta maybe find a threshold, but we could also have the offset. I mean, I'd be interested to know what that number is, because like Sue, I mean, there's definitely philanthropic people in our community that, when it comes to children, and certainly education,
But
they
they
really,
have the meal debt portion, so you have those that are getting the meals but not paying for those meals. And oftentimes, I'm sure what you find is that people will come in and liquidate those obligations. There are some districts, I think it was Pawtucket, that was probably in the 200,000 or 300,000 range in terms of meal debt. And again, you've got pretty high free and reduced there as well, too. So,
I just think, you know, in these economic times where people's jobs are not always secure, even in the higher income levels, you know, there can be a time when it's difficult for
yeah, and I think
families to
what
pay.
happens, and I think that certainly the principal may be aware of those, and in those cases, we're able to kind of do something behind the scenes to mitigate those people who do need that assistance.
I guess that's what I look at, is we have a reduced or free lunch mechanism in place to help the families that need the help. And that's, and I'm all for that. Help them, help whoever needs to, and do the process, whatever you need to do to qualify people. But at the same time,
But
Well,
what
nobody will
happens,
buy
Mike,
lunch.
is
I
that
mean, we put it up to
sometimes
$5.
But during the year, things happen,
Yeah.
and they may not necessarily qualify, and the standards for free under the feds are pretty low. I mean, so,
I'd like to see us go to 325. Just, I'm looking at other, and this is the paperwork that you gave us. I take it this is proposed for all these other different communities.
I appreciate that, but I also think that that number sort of is kind of random too. Without having that information, we could throw out numbers all day, but we don't really know what 325 gets us versus an increase of 15 cents. I don't know what the process was. I don't know. This doesn't give me the information in order to understand how to bridge the gap
well,
of
it wasn't
$12,000.
really necessarily bridging the gap, it's starting the process
Yeah.
of increasing those costs.
Yeah. We could probably get pretty close to understanding the exact number if we had a little bit more data. That would get us there. But I think you're right. That's starting the process is really where we're at, and I appreciate that, Michael. I really do. But I just don't know if 325 is the right number. So it's hard to sit here and say this is the number today.
Correct, I think it's,
It's in line with other towns. That's why, so I didn't come back with a number of $4 while we were
no,
on
he's
that.
got,
Yeah.
I've seen Narragan's
No,
on there, he's,
no.
you know. I think it's a conversation that needs to continue. I think I'm going to go by what John McNamee has shared with us tonight.
What is the do we have a timeline?
Yeah, it's, school starts in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So this is, we don't, if we're not here, then we're not getting food. Oh, okay. So,
Well, we've had him sign off on continuing the contract, but in terms of this increase, I'll consider a motion to increase the school lunch and breakfast rates to the proposal of $3 for lunch and $1.50 for breakfast.
So,
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing as there are none. That being said, this was a very robust discussion. It would be great if we could have that data, so we could maybe take the steps that Michael brought up, Mark and Sue. in
Yeah,
terms
we
of-
get number of meals served.
Yeah,
we get
just
that,
trying to,
so
Yeah.
I'll put something together. for
We'll
that.
get you that information.
Because like you said,
And we'll track it this year.
I get it, like Pawtucket, Woonsocket, these are huge, huge communities. I mean, we've got 225 to 250 kids in here. How many of them are actively buying? What does it look like? I think it could be something much like Sue with her wellness survey, like we could maybe figure out
Yeah,
and take some heat off of the finance.
Well, it's a separate program, it's outside of the general, so that is a standalone.
The lunch. Okay.
The only issue you need to deal with is the meal debt, because what the feds are saying, that if you do have outstanding monies, you need to collect it, otherwise you have to fund that amount. In the past, what's happened, especially after the pandemic, was that as long as you had monies in the fund balance, you could write off that meal debt to that fund balance, because they knew that these districts were making money during the pandemic. So now that's since changed. And they also have changed the way they kind of calculate well, I should say the freight reduced more for state aid than actually for food service, so you still have.
Gosh, you've got to be like up to speed on so many things and nuances and year to year and this, that. It's wild. It blows me away.
You got like 200 and some kids, and, you know.
So I understand that we haven't raised the rates in 10 years, but is there any stipulations as far as like, once the rate is set now, that we have to hold that for the whole year?
No, well, for the year,
For the year.
probably.
But I think it would take us probably a year to collect data, try to kind of figure out this wiggle room, possibly figure out the offset. I know that, like you said, it's not a general fund thing, but, you know, maybe there is
Bring
somebody
this up
that's,
in June.
yeah, maybe there's somebody that is philanthropic that'll say, what's the food debt? Like, well, that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Here's 12 grand. I'm just, putting it out there. So the more information we have, the better we can go into the community and try to solicit those type of
Because we'll be
solutions.
doing the contract again with Charles.
Well, they
So-
do an annual budget
Anyway,
anyway.
yeah, so hopefully we would have it by June and maybe the June or July meeting do this earlier and have that discussion with the data around it.
That'd be great. All right, thank you all. I will consider a motion to enter into executive session under RIGL, section 42-46-5A1 and 2 via roll call. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We will vote via roll call, Mariah.
Going to executive now?
It's about to be, once we do the vote.
Okay.
Mark Glacier,
Aye.
Susan Chase,
Aye.
Michael Rucha,
Aye.
Travis Audi,
Aye.
and Amy Glacier is absent.
Just disclose that personnel who've been noticed that we'll be talking about them in executive session. Haven't had an opportunity
Got that sheet somewhere.
Okay, are we going executive now?
to- Hold on one second.
Okay.
Give me one moment.
Just don't want it running if it should be.
Yep, thank you.
Gosh, is it in here? Do we have that prompt in here?
I'm
or-
sorry, I may not.
Yeah, no worries. So I need to,
Specifically, anyone who's been,
anyone that will be discussed in executive session has been notified previously and given the opportunity to be in executive session during the discussion.
received no such request.
And we have received no such requests. Not bad. We've only had to say it like a dozen times, you probably know it by now.
We could go into executive session. Thank you.
Thank